On my birthday, my uncle came to visit me. "Did you enjoy the motorcycle I sent you last year?" he asked. I blinked, confused. "What motorcycle?" I said. I hadn't received anything. My uncle glanced at my parents, who suddenly looked pale and everything spiraled out of control. My name is Daniel, and as far back as I can remember, I've always been the one left out in my family. You can't really pretend it's not happening, no matter how tough you try to be. My parents, Victoria and Samuel, always had a clear favorite, my younger sister, Olivia. She was their shining star, while I was more like background noise, barely acknowledged, and I'm not exaggerating. Ever since I was a kid, anything good always ended up with Olivia. The newest gadgets, the nicest clothes, the proud words, the beaming smiles, it was all for her. Me, I got what was left over, if there was anything to begin with. Growing up, I lived in a house where comparisons were as routine as breakfast. Look at Olivia. She's brilliant, she's charming. My mother would rave. Meanwhile, the most I'd get was, "Try harder, Daniel. Maybe you'll get there someday." My father, just the same. He had a habit of clapping for Olivia over the smallest things, a sloppy painting, a C grade at school. But me, I could bring home top marks, or win a regional competition, and the best I'd hear was, "Good, but don't slack off." It felt like just being around was a burden for them. Still, I wasn't a quitter. After I graduated high school, my parents told me bluntly there wasn't any money for me to go to college. "We can't pay for everything, Daniel. Olivia's future is more important now," my mother said, her cold eyes locked on me. So at 18, I picked up a job at a hardware store. Nothing fancy, stacking shelves, loading boxes, helping customers with a tired smile. It paid just enough for meals, basic clothes, and the occasional hangout with my friends. It was my way of standing tall, proving I could move forward without their approval. Olivia, she didn't work. She didn't even look for work. My parents excused it. She's still figuring out what she wants to do. She's young, she'll be fine. At 21, she was still lounging at home, glued to her phone, always flush with cash that magically never ran out. Meanwhile, I came home every night, exhausted, my hands raw for moving heavy stock, only to hear Olivia mock me. Still at that dead-end job, Daniel, she'd smirk, showing off another trendy jacket my parents had bought her. "Don't you think? You should aim a bit higher, by now." My mother would nod. My father wouldn't even lift his head from the sports pages. It was like my efforts were completely invisible to them. Truthfully, what kept our family afloat wasn't my parents. They hadn't worked for years. They always blamed the economy or said they were unlucky, but I never saw them put in the effort to find something else. The person keeping the lights on was my uncle, Martin. He lived abroad and had a solid retirement and investments that seemed to never run dry. Month after month, he sent money that covered everything. Everett, utilities, groceries, he even footed the bill for Olivia's endless shopping sprees. My parents handled the money, said it was simpler that way. I never saw a cent of it, but I didn't ask for any either. I believed in earning my own way. Uncle Martin was the one person who made me feel seen. When I was a kid, summers with him were the highlight of my childhood. We'd go hiking, fix old bikes in his garage, and he'd always tell me, "Daniel, you've got something special. Never let them convince you otherwise." He made me feel like I mattered. But 3 years ago, he moved far away, and since then, we only talked over the phone. Our bond squeezed into those brief calls. Still, I always knew deep down I was his favorite nephew. You could hear it in his voice, the way he truly cared. My 23rd birthday rolled around, and I didn't expect much. My birthdays were usually rushed, maybe a small cake, sung as lifelessly as a school pledge, but this time was odd. When I got home from another long shift, I found a cake on the kitchen table. It was one of those store-bought ones with cheap frosting that crumbles when you touch it. My parents and Olivia sang happy birthday like they were being forced to do it. "Happy birthday, Daniel," my mother said, stretching a fake smile. My dad barely grunted. Olivia didn't even glance at me, too busy on her phone. No gifts, no cards. Just that sad little cake. It struck me as strange that they even bothered. Then my mother added, "Your Uncle Martin wanted you to have something today." I thanked her, but something didn't sit right. Why would they, who hardly cared, suddenly go out of their way to do this? But I let it slide. Maybe Martin had insisted. We ate the cake quietly, the whole celebration lasting barely 10 minutes before everyone scattered. Olivia to her room, Dad to the TV, Mom to her phone. I sat in my room later, feeling more alone than ever. What really caught my attention was what followed in the next few weeks. Out of nowhere, my parents and Olivia started living like they'd hit the lottery. New clothes, shiny watches, Olivia showing off a new tablet, and talking about trips they were planning. One afternoon, I overheard my mom talking on the phone about a beach vacation, just the three of us. "A little family getaway," she said, like I didn't even exist. And they went. Gone for a whole week. They didn't even ask me to come. "There's no room, Daniel. Besides, you've got work, right?" my dad said, half grinning, though I wasn't sure if it was cruelty or indifference. I stayed behind, working long shifts while they posted beach photos, pretending to be the perfect family. Yacht stung. But more than that, I kept wondering where all this extra money was coming from. Martin always sent just enough to cover the basics. Was he sending more now? I tried not to think too hard about it. Maybe it was just a special gift. Another year passed. Nothing changed. Same job, same paycheck, same cruel jokes from my family. Olivia still didn't work, still lived like royalty off Uncle Martin's money. And me, still the family's punching bag. Daniel, another year, and still in the same place. My mom said one day, her voice full of disgust. At your age, you should be doing better. Olivia laughed. Dad nodded like always. I just clenched my jaw and kept moving forward. When I turned 24, I wasn't expecting anything. Maybe another cheap cake, another forced song, or maybe they wouldn't even bother this time. But then my phone rang. It was Uncle Martin. His voice was warm, but there was excitement there too. Daniel, my boy. I'm coming to visit you for your birthday today. I want to take you to dinner. Pick the best place in the city. Bring your parents and Olivia. This is a family celebration. I was floored. I hadn't seen him in years. The thought of having him here made me feel something I hadn't in a long time, genuine happiness. I agreed right away. He said he'd be at the house that evening. Finally, someone who actually cared about me would be here. And just like he promised, Uncle Martin arrived at the door with his signature big smile and a hug that took me back to those summer days. Tall, silver-haired, and still bursting with energy. My parents and Olivia greeted him, but something about their smiles seemed forced. My mom was oddly quiet. My dad kept fidgeting with his phone. Olivia, barely looking up, stayed in the corner, like she couldn't be bothered to be there at all. We headed to the restaurant. Martin had picked a fancy place where the waiters treated you like you were someone important. The food was amazing, and for a brief moment, I genuinely felt special. My uncle kept asking about my life, how I'd been, how work was going, what my dreams were. It had been so long since anyone had truly shown interest in me, but my parents, and Olivia, they didn't seem to enjoy themselves much. They barely spoke, and when they did, it was only to throw jabs at me. Another year stacking boxers. Huh. Olivia laughed. How pathetic. You haven't changed a bit, my mother added, coldly. I did my best to brush it off. I didn't want them to ruin this rare moment. But then, while we were having dessert, Martin looked at me with that warm smile and asked something that flipped my entire world. Daniel, tell me, did you like the gift I sent you last year? I paused, confused. The only thing I got last year was that bland supermarket cake my parents said was from him. Oh yeah, thanks for the cake, Uncle. Mom and Dad told me you sent it, I said, trying to sound thankful, but Martin's expression changed instantly. His brows furrowed. Cake, he repeated, puzzled. I didn't send you a cake, Daniel. The air at the table thickened immediately. My parents started squirming in their seats. My mother quickly tried to steer the conversation elsewhere, mumbling something about how great the food was, but Martin didn't let it slide. Wait, Victoria, what cake? He turned to me again. Daniel, didn't you like the car I sent you for your birthday last year? I froze. A car? What car? I stared at him in disbelief. What car? I never got a car. Just that cake Mom said you sent. My mother's face turned white. My father's fork slipped from his hand and clattered on the plate. Olivia, who was never short on words, just stared silently at the floor. Martin slowly faced my parents, his eyes sharp with confusion and growing anger. What's going on here? His voice sent chills through me. I sent a sports car for Daniel's birthday. Where is it? My parents stumbled over their words. My mom nervously claimed it must have been some delivery issue. My dad quickly blamed the shipping company, but Martin wasn't buying it. He slammed his palm on the table, shaking the glasses. Tell me right now what happened to that car, or you won't like what's coming. The entire restaurant went dead silent. People turned to look, but I didn't care. I was frozen. A car. My uncle had sent me a sports car, and I'd never even seen it. I looked at my parents, waiting, hoping for an answer. What they said next was worse than anything I'd imagined. After some weak mumbling, my mom finally admitted, barely above a whisper, we sold it. We needed the money. Martin, times were hard. My dad jumped in, trying to justify it. It was for the family. We couldn't keep such a luxury. And Olivia, well, she needed things. That's when I snapped. Olivia needed things. I shouted, my voice cracking with rage. What about me? Do I not matter? Why is it always her? Martin was silent, but his glare said everything. Finally he spoke, his words like daggers. I trusted you. That car was for Daniel, the one who worked his whole life, who never asked for anything. And you sold it to buy clothes and vacations for Olivia. My parents desperately begged, promising it would never happen again, that it had been a mistake. Olivia, for once, looked terrified. But Martin stood up. Not another penny. This ends now. You can pay this bill yourselves. He turned to me. Daniel, let's go. We left the restaurant as he drove. He told me the whole story. For years, he had been sending money for me. Not just to cover bills, but for my education, for my future. He had trusted my parents to use it for me. Now, he realized they had taken it all. The car was just the tip of the iceberg. I saw how they treated you, Daniel, he said, his voice low but steady. The way they belittled you, but this is unforgivable. I sat there, overwhelmed not just because of the stolen car, but because of all the things my uncle had tried to give me. Things I never even knew about. But Martin's next words changed my life. You're not staying here with them. Come with me. In my country, you'll have real chances. I'll help you start over. I didn't hesitate. I said yes. A week later, I was on a flight with my uncle, heading toward a new life. When we arrived at his home, I was speechless. It was a massive house with a garage full of sports cars. Pick one. He smiled. The one they stole from you is gone, but these are all yours. I chose a bright red one. It felt like something out of a dream. With his help, I landed a job at a major company. Not just any job, a solid, well-paid position with real potential. For the first time, I felt seen. I felt worthy, but Martin was proud, and so was I. Then the call started. My parents, Olivia, over and over. Voicemails, texts, non-stop. I ignored them. After weeks of silence, curiosity got the better of me. I finally picked up. Daniel, it's you. My mother's voice was shaky, nothing like the cold tone I had always known. Please, don't hang up. We need to talk. I stayed quiet. We're in trouble. Martin has cut us off completely. We have no money. We're about to lose the house. Please, Daniel, your family. You have to help us. I couldn't help but laugh, bitterly. Family. Oh, now I'm family. Where was this family when you mocked me? When you sold the car that was meant for me? When you abandoned me for Olivia's trips and designer clothes? She tried to interrupt, but I didn't let her. No, Victoria, you don't get to play family now. For years, I was invisible to you, and now you want me to rescue you. There was silence. Then my father took the phone. Don't be ungrateful, Daniel. We did our best for you. Everything we did was for the family. How dare you throw that in our faces? That was too much. Gave me what exactly did you give me? A sad cake. Mockery when I was working my hands raw. You gave me nothing but contempt while Olivia got everything. I heard Olivia muttering in the background. My mother came back on, her voice soft now, desperate. Please, Daniel, we have nothing left. Olivia's looking for work, but it's hard. You're doing well now. Can't you help us, just a little? The word family rang in my ears like poison. You know what? Ask Olivia. She was always the favorite. Let her save you now. I hung up. My chest was pounding, but I felt something I hadn't in years. Peace. I had finally spoken my truth. Weeks later, Martin told me they'd been evicted. They were living in a cramped apartment, barely scraping by. Olivia had to finally find a job. Meanwhile, I was free. I had a great job, an incredible car. And most importantly, I had someone who believed in me. Martin gave me the chance my parents never wanted me to have. And for the first time, I was genuinely happy.